as fairy penguins. And the penguins that we have in here also have quite a strange nickname. They also get known as donkey penguins. The donkey penguin also quite commonly gets known as the Peruvian penguin, and our centre and a more well-known name for them is the Humboldt penguin. Now the Humboldt penguin, as you can see, look a lot more at home in the warmer climates, and that is a really cool fact about them. Even though penguins seem to be associated with ice and cold areas of the world, the Humboldt penguin prefers to live in areas such as South America and also Peru. So you can imagine that these guys are really happy with how nice the weather's coming along, just like how we are. We've actually got 11 penguins in this enclosure in total as well. I know only a few of them are out at the moment, but 5 of our penguins were actually born at a Sealife sanctuary, and the other 5 came from various bird sanctuaries. They were then brought here to our centre as part of a breeding programme, and last year we got our 11th penguin, and she's called Princess Leia, and she's just got her back to us at the moment actually. She's kind of like the odd one out if anything, from a lot of the other penguins that we've got. She's only 1 year old. She was actually born on May the 4th, so we gave her a nice little birthday present, which was obviously fish, it's her favourite food. But as you can see, she's doing really well. She's not exactly small anymore, and once she starts to molt just before the summer, she'll get her adult feathers and she'll look like a lot of the others that we have in here as well. Fingers crossed, in the next sort of couple of weeks we should actually have some baby penguins as well, as a lot of our female and the male penguins at the moment are just in their nest boxes looking after some eggs. So fingers crossed, we may have some more little penguins hopping around in this enclosure for you guys to see in the sun. Now these penguins, even though they like for really warm weather, they've got some really cool little adaptations to allow them to survive in sometimes the most harshest of climates. With penguins, they do have some really interesting adaptations, and even though on the land they look reasonably docile, when they're in the water they really are amazing little swimmers. With penguins and living in colder parts of the world, they do have a variety of different ways of keeping warm. They've actually got 2 really thick layers of feathers. Their layer of feathers on the outside is simply a waterproof coat for them, but it's also a really simple form of camouflage.
Can you hold on just until
when these penguins are under the water, the black on the penguin's back simply blends in with any rocks or darker bits around the penguin, and then the white underneath simply blends in with the scarf. These penguins' natural predators would be orcas, and also seals, sea lions, and also sharks. With these penguins have this really simple form of camouflage, it just allows them to be able to swim through the water and be practically invisible. Underneath this layer of feathers they've got a second coat which is really thick and fluffy, and it's just like they're wearing a waterproof coat with a nice body jumper underneath to keep them nice and warm. Between the layers of feathers they've also got a layer of air, and then underneath all that they've got a really nice thick layer of blubber that keeps them nice and warm throughout the winter. You'll probably notice when these penguins are walking around as well, they don't really look like the most agile of birds, to be fair. The reason why a penguin walks the way they do is because they don't actually have any kneecaps. So that's why they've got that really strange stiff-legged walk, just like how you can see our penguin doing now. The penguin skeleton is actually a lot more solid and harder than most birds as well. Most birds that you can see which can fly have a hollow skeleton, so this way they can simply fly, and also while they're flying chase after their prey. Penguins on the other hand have a much more harder, thicker, tougher skeleton, and they also don't have any kneecaps. This way, when they're in the water pressure and water density isn't going to crush them or damage them while they're swimming. And the emperor penguin can actually reach depths of over 15 metres down in the water. So thanks to that nice tough bone structure, those nice thick feathers, these guys really are well at home when they're in the water. You can see they've pretty much got that kind of rugby ball shaped body to them, and then thanks to those wings and those little feet and that nice sharp beak, it allows the penguin to cut through the water and chase after its prey with absolute ease. Now the penguin's favourite food should I say, is obviously fish, and when they are actually eating, they do actually have quite a strange, distinctive way of eating their food. These penguins don't really have teeth. Instead, they've got a really rough tongue, which is covered in tiny little barbs. Their tongue basically looks like a strip of Velcro, and it allows the penguins to hold on to the fish while it's in their mouth, and when they start eating, they can slowly work their food down the back of their throats and basically swallow it all in one go. Obviously eating like this, and obviously eating this fast, you might want a bit of a drink just to help it go down that little bit easier. And these penguins will actually drink the water that's around them as well, just to help their food go down. Salt water, obviously to us, doesn't really taste very nice. It doesn't really bother the penguins, because if they drink too much, they simply pop their head up, they force out a bit of a sneeze, it just clears their nasal passages, and then the salt or any water put them in a drink. So it's kind of like a little built-in filter system that they've got to make it more comfortable for them. And they've also got a second pair of eyelids, so they can still see when they're swimming under the water, so they can find their food. When they're on the land, they've got quite a few different ways of keeping cool. They can actually blush, which is a really strange thing to see these penguins doing. All that pink, which is around their beak, can blush a really bright red, and it's simply a way of them controlling their body heat, so they don't overheat in the summer or get too cold in the winter. They've also got a few different ways of talking to each other and communicating as well. They can simply click their beaks, they can simply move their heads from side to side, and also flap their wings as well as a way of interacting. They've also got a really strange sound that they can make as well, which does sound an awful lot like a donkey, and it's a very loud, very distinctive noise that they make, and it's simply a way for these penguins to be able to talk to each other. That call actually helps these penguins find their partner, and they can also recognise their partner's call from a group of over 1,000 different penguins out there in the wild. They also rely a lot more strongly on their sense of smell at the same time as well, so these guys can choose and see their partner from different groups and tell them apart pretty much straight away. When it comes to living in their family numbers, they really are protective over each other, and when it comes to their eggs and their babies, they really do know how to take care of them as well. The male penguin, he will sit on the egg and also look after the baby once it's hatched, and the female can then collect more bedding and different things that she'll need to make sure that that chick is nice and healthy at the same time as well. She'll also help when it comes to feeding at the same time, which is really cool. But it's nice that not only do these penguins live in huge groups, which can include over 1,000 different penguins, but they also stay in their family numbers at the same time. If any predators do happen to appear, these penguins can make this really loud noise, and it simply scares away any of the creatures and obviously ensures their survival. So there's no doubt about it, the Humboldt penguin really is an amazing creature, and that's why we've got them here at our centre, and why we're breeding them here at our centre as well. The reason why we're breeding them mainly as well is because sadly these penguins do face a number of big problems out there in the wild. From overfishing, people simply taking this fish out of the ocean, it's simply a shortage of food for these penguins. And obviously with no food, they're going to really struggle when it comes to actually looking after their babies and also feeding their young at the same time. With pollution, when it comes to oil spills and other things like that, or nets being thrown in the water, making it impossible for these creatures to be able to survive as well. But one of the really big issues that these penguins are actually facing is global warming, the warm water current called El Nino in South America. This El Nino simply warms up the water around these areas where these penguins hunt, and obviously it really does affect how different creatures can survive out there. Particularly the types of fish that these penguins rely on as their main source of food. And because of global warming, these warm water currents are happening a lot more frequently throughout the year, and they're also happening more than once throughout the year as well. And it really started to have its effects on these penguins, and even caused some species to become critically endangered. At our centre, we are breeding them here. Our aim is to get a good population of them here in captivity to just help their population in a whole, and there are other sanctuaries breeding these penguins at the same time. Once the time is right in the future, we can eventually work on releasing some penguins back into the wild to help the population of them, but until then we can breed them here in captivity where it's a lot safer for these creatures as well. And also this is a great way of us to be able to promote these animals and educate people a bit more about them at the same time. And also just what makes them so amazing. If you guys do want to help us out, just feel free to spread the message about these creatures. We really wouldn't be able to help these animals out in any way if it wasn't for people like yourself passing on the message of what we do here. And also a way of helping our penguins in this enclosure, you can actually adopt one of them. When you adopt one of our penguins, you don't get to take them back home or anything like that, but it is a way to be able to come into the centre all year round for free and actually visit your penguin. You also get a little cuddly toy of them, some pictures and loads of other things in the adoption package at the same time. So if you would like to do that, or if you're interested in hearing a bit more about the adoptions, feel free just to ask at the shop and they'll let you know as much about that. If you guys have any more questions about the rest of your visit, feel free to come over to any of us guys in the centre today and we'll let you know as much about the different creatures that we have here and a bit more about the work that we do as well. The next talk and the next feed will be upstairs by the Turtle Sanctuary. That will be at 3:30, and if you'd like to see our turtles getting fed and learn a bit more about our logger-headed sea turtle, feel free to make your way up there for 3:30. Thanks very much guys and have an amazing day.